Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show. Hello. Ooh, it's nice in here, isn't it? Yeah, you having a good morning?
Good morning.
Well, if you're having a good morning, I suppose I'm having a good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good day.
Goodness.
Lot less.
Hey, You never know how it's going to turn out. Welcome to the Benji and Nick Show.
Welcome.
I'm not Benji.
No, and I'm not Nick.
So that's sorted. Let me describe the show for you. We talk about cult TV.
Yeah, and golf.
Really?
No,
we don't. There's no golf. There probably will be now. And we start very close to the microphone, but then we sort of pull back and just speak normally, really. I don't know why that tradition has taken hold, but it has. So I've described the podcast. We randomly, spontaneously pick something to discuss at the end of each podcast. And then we watch it, and then in the following podcast we discuss it. So this week we are discussing the Owl service, which is sorry, I've just put my computer forward, so Benji's now seeing my trousers. There we are. It's a kids TV show. Well, is it a kids TV show? That from what year? I can't see the year on the box.
I think I want to say it's 69-70.
Okay,
but you know who actually knows? Let's be honest here. Who actually knows?
Does it not say?
And
on
it
the
does
internet?
say. I'm just being irritating.
Goggle it.
Let's have a look. The Owl service.
It stars, among other people, Edmund Richfield, doesn't it?
It does. It's got an interesting cast, actually.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, 1969. Produced in 1969 and televised over the winter of 69 to 70.
Wow.
Bang. Look at that. Excellent.
That explains a lot, actually, but we'll talk about that later. What were you going to say?
I said I think it's down to the fact that I thought it must have been late 60s, early 70s because of the funky styles in which were going on in this episode.
Yeah.
With fun shirts and fashions.
Yes. Oh, goodness. We won't go into that. Anyway, we'll be talking about that later. Before we get to that, we'll be talking about what we've been watching generally this week, just a little summation of that. Then we'll be looking at your emails, and then we'll be giving you a competition result. So there you have it. So, first of all, what have you been watching this week, Benji?
I'm trying to think if I've been watching anything this week, actually, weirdly enough.
I've been watching the paint dry on my wall.
I've been doing a bit of Vikings, trying to catch up. I think I mentioned that last week, though.
You did, yeah. You get a lot of bang for your buck, you said.
You do get a lot of bang for your buck.
It's not historically accurate, except for the word Viking.
Except for the word Viking, yeah. But I'm trying to catch up because I think that's coming back. Is it this month, next month, possibly?
What's it available on? What TV service can you watch this?
I think you can watch that one on Prime. That's where I watch it anyway.
I don't have it.
Apart from that, what else have I been watching? To be honest, not an awful lot. I've been really busy, kind of working and doing stuff. I did attempt to sit down and watch Redshift, that Play for Today. Because I've had it and tried to watch it before.
What's that about?
But couldn't. It's this really weird Play for Today about this lad, and I think it's all to do with like set in 3 different times, revolving around the same sort of event and that. But to be honest, I just wasn't in the frame of mind to
when was
fully
it made?
appreciate. Oh God, the 70s. Let's have a look.
Play for Today was a anthology drama strand on BBC One where, important and challenging new work was done. Don't have that anymore.
1978. Yeah, three men at 3 different times in history come to Mocrop Hill in search of a sanctuary from their troubles. A Roman soldier, an English Civil War rebel, and a 1970s teenager. So it's quite an interesting concept.
Who wrote it?
It's a BFI. It was adapted from a book by Alan Garner.
And
directed
how
by
funny,
John,
Yeah, go on.
And directed by John Mackenzie.
Look. The Owl Service.
No, what?
Alan Garner.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
did you not
that
know?
makes an awful lot of sense, and I will actually be able to elaborate on that one. But how weird is that? But I wasn't really in the right frame of mind to sit. I've had the DVD for this for ages, but I've not really been in the right frame of mind to kind of sit down and fully take it in, I suppose.
No.
But I'll probably give it another go when I'm feeling a bit more kind of in the zone. But it's some weird stuff. I do love a play for today. Like, watched the other day, Nuts in May, Mike Lee. Absolute
I have
gold.
such incredible memories of that. I loved that.
Oh, it's just brilliant. The funniest thing is it's so... it's one of those ones, people either love it or hate it, and it's like you either get it or you don't. Like, I love it because it's absolutely flabbergastingly mundane, and I find the mundane hilarious.
Candice Marie. Yes, Keith.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Alison Steadman doing an amazing job. Yeah.
What's the other bloke's there? I want to go over and talk to Lee. Is it Lee or...
Who goes mad in the end,
He goes mad and can't deal with it. Oh,
it's a very idiosyncratic Mike Lee drama. I would characterise it thus.
It's just absolute gold. So yeah, I mean that's what I've been doing. Not an awful lot else really. Just woiking really. I'm woiking here, eh? I'm woiking here. How about yourself, Nick?
Well, I've had a very busy week too. But I did make sure I watched Press, the final instalment of the BBC One journalism drama about two newspapers competing, and I really, it finished, and I really like the ending. There's no sign that there's going to be another series. I don't think it's just me and my taste, isn't it? Yeah, I thought it was really good, but I don't think it's gone down that well. I don't see any great. I just thought it was a really surprising and interesting drama. I mean, it's a little bit soapy. You know what I mean?
I think that's quite good.
It's well, yeah. I mean, so what I'm saying is, it's not a vastly important piece of work, I suppose, or maybe I'm being harsh on it. I just thought it was really good. I thought it was beautifully written. The characters were great. The acting was great. Very nicely directed, and very rewarding and true to itself. The ending I thought was excellent. So I go on forever, don't I? Particularly at the moment, about endings and how difficult they are because of audience expectations. And this one kept me guessing and was satisfying because it was, I thoroughly recommend Press. I really do. I don't know how accurate it actually is about newspapers. I've never worked for one. That's not true. I did do some layout for a trade magazine called The Publican once. Mm-hmm. But that's hardly the sharp end, is it? Have I watched anything else? I watched a bit of Public Eye, but I didn't have time to see it all, but I've got it recorded. Frank Marker,
getting a lot of
played by Alfred
Twitter.
Burke.
A lot of people are really getting into that.
It's just amazing. Just a bit, dry as a bone. No music, no fancy editing, no action. Just a private detective down on his luck. Goodness me!
All the best ones are.
They're quite bleak. I mean, he's just come out of prison in this one, and he's just working as a labourer. It's really tough. Really tough. So I think that's about it. I haven't seen anything else this week. No, apart from the Owl Service. On to that later. Right, emails. So I'll read this one from Shane Dumphy.
Go for it, sir.
He sent it at 23:18 on the 9th of October. It's a bit of a late night email here, Shane. I haven't had a chance to pre-read this, so I'm going to be very entertained and surprised. Shane is a writer of some note, and so his emails are always beautifully written. Dear Benji and Nick, I was listening to a recent podcast from the rather marvellous Eric Malinsky, in which he discussed the popularity of classic radio dramas. He signed off by giving a special mention to Big Finish, which made me smile. It's always nice to have that shared experience and to know someone else is revelling in something you really hold dear. The whole podcast got me thinking. I know the Benji and Nick show has created a niche for itself as the home of cult television, particularly cult children's TV. But do you think there might be room for an episode dealing with all the wonderful cult radio and audio programs that have had such a formative effect on those of us who love sci-fi and fantasy storytelling in all its forms? I'm thinking in particular of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the BBC serializations of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, the 1981 adaptation of John Wyndham's The Chrysalids, and even BBC Radio's Adventures of Superman Man. Mags, wonderful work. Benji's love of classic era Coronation Street also reminded me of my mother listening to The Archers on a Sunday morning. This is the longest running soap opera ever. It's on Radio 4. When I was a small boy, and the warm feeling that theme tune always gives me. Dun, 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 dun.
I love it when the international sign of lunchtime, isn't it?
When it gets a bit fierce, it goes dun 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 dun. It's really, they should have faded it out by then, because suddenly it doesn't feel like a drama about farmers. It sounds like a load of people wielding pickaxes and coming across in a mob with flaming torches. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, there be cults out here in the countryside.
Burn the heathens.
And while I'm too young to remember the original broadcast, I grew up listening to my dad's recording of The Goon Show. He's falling in the water. And I, in turn, shared these with my own son when he was old enough to enjoy them. And speaking of comedy, didn't Hancock's Half Hour start out live on the radio?
Certainly did. Been listening to that a lot. That's my lunchtime listening, actually, at the moment. Absolute gold. There's a great one of him in hospital the other day, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and The Cold and The Blood Don't. Oh, they're so good. All on Spotify. The whole collection's on there. So if you got that, give it a listen. They're rocking.
Brilliant. Shane continues, I think it would be great fun to revisit these fabulous pieces of audio delight, and I can only hope my recommendation of Chocky some time ago hasn't put you off trusting my judgment. No, Chocky was all right, we were a bit harsh on it, I think. Sorry about that, Shane. Keep up the sterling work. Your musings on the champions recently brought back some great memories. I had forgotten about that golden light at the end of each episode. Was it each episode? I thought it only happened at the end of that one. And I laughed heartily when you mentioned it. We suddenly realised they just turned a golden light on the champions at the end of episode 1. Made us think that something exciting was going to happen, but no. Looking forward to further debates, discussions and diatribes on all things cult. Warmest regards, Shane Dunphy. Also writing as S.A. Dunphy. Yeah, go on, Google him, look him up, go to Amazon, buy his books. That's my advice.
I love a bit of classic radio drama. Yeah. I mean, like Gunsmoke. Have you ever listened to Gunsmoke?
No, it's as a radio drama.
Gunsmoke, yeah, as a radio drama.
No, an American radio drama.
American Western radio drama, Gunsmoke. That was quite good.
Because it was a TV series as well.
I think it was a radio drama before it was a TV series.
Well, it would have been, yeah. That's the usual progression, isn't it?
There's another great one I listened to. There's a great one, Horatio Hornblower. This one that they made, I think it was either the 60s or the late 50s. And weirdly enough, listening to it, the sound design in it was more convincing than some of the contemporary things I've heard, made in the last 10 years.
Wow.
It did a really good job. You actually felt like you were on a ship. There's some lots of, but I mean, they're not cults, they're just old. But yeah, I mean, cult radio, very interesting. Lots of it, of course.
Do you want to read the next email?
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm always for it.
We know this lady. We've met her.
We certainly have. This one starts with dash original message dash. Right,
I'm going to
just
dash.
Reading the email. Subject: You've convinced me. Brackets and convention appearances, close brackets. Date 2018-10-08-05-2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Crikey. Yeah, but
that's our time, isn't it? Yeah, because she's in America. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one is from Jessica Schlosky. Jess, one of the fabulous twins that we've met in Chicago. Two lovely people, talented people as well. In the world of theatre and creating all sorts of wonderful things and cosplay and brilliant. And so here is the email in question. Dear Nick and Benji, I regret to admit that I'm very behind on the Benji and Nick show. I was doing really well with keeping up with it over the summer, and then as soon as fall hit, life hit me full force, and I've been struggling to catch up since. However, I've been starting to work on it again, bit by bit, and I just recently listened to your Chimes of Big Ben episode. I've been hearing about The Prisoner for years now, what with the Big Finish podcast and my sister nagging me about it and everything. But for some reason, the Benji and Nick show is the thing that finally convinced me to jump the gun and watch it.
do it.
I've seen the first 2 episodes by this point and I love it. The premise is so unique and engaging and the sets are beautiful. God, I love that 60s design. The other thing that's really remarkable to me is how modern it looks. I don't know if it's the cinematography or budget or what, but even compared to the Doctor Who or Star Trek of the time, it just feels very contemporary. So thank you for introducing me to it.
Yeah,
it's very true.
Right there, Jessica, yeah.
It looks great. It still holds up, I think, really, really well. It's the surrealist nature, isn't it?
Yes.
We've got here, on a separate note, and forgive me if you've talked about this at all, I'm thrilled to see that after nagging them so much about it, Benji has officially been invited back to Chicago TARDIS.
Yes, get in.
And of course, it's always lovely to see you too, Nick.
Yeah, whatever. I'm clearly an afterthought. Yeah.
I know it's likely you'll record a Big Finish podcast episode there, but would you also consider recording a Benji and Nick show episode live? I don't know how many CT goers have crossed over from the Big Finish podcast and listened to this as well, but if you do decide on a topic ahead of time, perhaps the audience could have the chance to watch it too. I think that could be a lot of fun. All the best, Jessica Shalosky. Interesting thought there, interesting thought. Who knows?
Goodness me, that might take a little bit of organising. Okay, well, there. It's lovely to hear from you, Jessica, and we look forward to seeing you both at Chicago TARDIS on the 20-something of November.
The Benji and Nick show live from the car park.
And it will be really windy as well, because it's really cold that time of year there. Wow. Original message, -- stop it. Subject, issue 33. Now this is from Colin Smith, who does our lovely magazine covers for the Benji and Nick show that you would have seen on Facebook, and also as an insert on the main artwork. Sending, obviously, to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. So I just wanted a huge shout out to Colin. Whatever your surname really is, Colin. He's saying it's Smith, but who knows? Anyway, he's coming to Big Finish Day, so we'll see him there. Hello, chaps. Enjoyed the podcast, as usual, this week. Started watching The Owl Service today, and is it weird? 2 episodes in, and I have no idea what's going on. To be honest, I didn't realise the Owl Service referred to a dining set. I thought it was going to be some sort of famous 5 Nancy Drew type shenanigans, where the kids worked for a secret organisation called the Owl Service. But no, so far it's mostly about plates with an owl pattern on them. And now Colin just descends into things I don't think I can read out. But he says something about a Welsh legend and a somewhat creepy handyman gardener. Who looks like he might get a restraining order in today's world. I may soldier on with the rest of it, but probably not. Also this week I got round to watching Zodiac, which we gave a huge recommendation to a while back, starring Anton Rogers and Anushka Hempel. So pleased I remembered her name then. He got it off eBay for £2 brand new. How fantastic. This is much more fun, but alas, no neck chops. I know we didn't do any neck chop alerts last week.
Certainly none this week.
No, we'll just put one in now.
Neck chop alert. Neck chop alert.
Ow!
There you are. That's because of neck chops. Yeah, I got a storyline for Big Finish recently, and it said, he knocks her out and puts her in the cupboard. I went, no, how? How does that happen? We're having no neck chops. And it just worked out we could just put someone in the cupboard. Yeah, just impossible. Fatal or ineffective, basically, is what neck chops are. In fact, I just recently watched the episode with Jenny Hanley, this is Zodiac in it, which you referred to in today's poddy. And speaking of neck chops, she, Ms. Hanley, is also in The Persuaders and Return of the Saint, she is, which has loads of neck chop whacking in them and could be possible suggestions for future podcasts. You're absolutely right, it could be. Definitely do those 2 at some point. Anyway, enough rambling from me. Here is issue 33 of the Benji and Nick magazine. I hope you enjoy it. Of course, you will see that artwork with the Owl Service on. Regards, Colin. Colin, looking forward to seeing you at Big Finish Day.
Definitely. I'll shake your hand, sir. Thank you for your fantastic work.
He's got a few things for us to sign, I think. Okay, before we go on, we're going to phone Jamie, but he's in Cannes at an important sort of film and television festival, so we probably won't be able to get a hold of him, but it's worth a try, isn't it?
Oh, I think so, definitely. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I say that, and I'm making a complete mess of calling him. Right, let's see. I don't think he's going to pick up it. Oh, he's connecting. Oh, my goodness.
Hello, bonjour. What do you want?
No more French, just a cod French accent then.
Well, I didn't want to confuse you.
No, you would. I'm so glad you're available. How's it going in Cannes? What is it called, the thing in Cannes you were at?
The weekend bit is called MIP Junior, and then the rest of the week is called MIP Com. Catchy names, aren't they?
Yeah. And what does MIP stand for?
Oh, I can't remember.
He's there and he doesn't know what it's called.
It's because it's Marché International something or other.
It's a bit of Française, isn't it?
Something in French, in it.
Benji, do you have anything to ask Jamie that I could...
Yeah, has he had any trifle lately?
I just want to say that Jamie's holding his head in his hands in a kind of, do I really have to do this sort of?
Great, let's inconvenience him for as long as we can.
Benji wants to know if you've had any trifle lately.
I haven't, but I definitely... Do you know what, actually? I bought some on Thursday night, but I didn't eat it. And it's very strange that Benji would then dream about me having trifle.
Well, he tweeted about this, didn't he? What was the tweet? Tell us the tweet, Jamie.
Oh, I have to find the tweet now. You're not asking the author, you're asking the person who was tagged in the tweet.
You don't have to read it out, but you can say...
Hang on, I have to remember now.
There's something about a trolley, wasn't it?
Benji said, had a dream I was on a plane and Jamie Anderson was wheeling the trolley up the aisle selling people trifle.
It's true. That was the dream.
I had trifle to sell.
You were going out handing people like little mini trifles. It was rather lovely, actually. I thought the plane was quite nice as well because it was really spacious, and there was a side room as well for some reason. Nick was on there as well. He was sitting with Tom Spilsbury from Doctor Who magazine. I don't really remember an awful lot else, but all I know is that Jamie was going along selling trifle. That's all I really remember of it.
You were there with what?
Tom Spilsbury. With what?
Oh, did he eat my trifle?
I don't know. I mean, I've not seen Tom Spilsbury for most of the year, and I barely ever talked to him. But he was in the dream, so there we go.
Well, I saw Tom Spilsbury the other night. Yeah, but
did he have any trifle?
He didn't mention anything about being on a plane with trifle.
Oh well.
So hold on. Was this a dream?
Wasn't a remarkable trifle, to be fair.
How is MIB going for you?
Well, it has been a bad start, dear.
Oh dear.
Yeah, no, I had a meeting. In fact, I've just had a text to say that the meeting is back on, but I had a meeting at 10:50, but I was not allowed into the building because I didn't have the correct pass.
Oh, that's friendly.
But it's fine. It's all blah, 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 blah. Good. Now, right. So I shall have to leave in a minute or two to go and have another meeting.
But that's all right.
It's good. It's good. It's only just started. It's exciting. It's all for Firestorm.
Firestorm! That's the new theme tune I've just decided.
Thank you for writing that.
Firestorm, it storms like fire, it's fiery and stormy. I don't know what's the matter with me.
Right,
okay, well listen.
You do the song, I'll do the sound effects, and Benji can do the weird dreams.
Yeah, that seems like a good combination. Listen, shall I let you get on with your important meetings? I'm so grateful to you actually being available. I thought I was just going to be listening to a ringing sound for 10 minutes.
French ringtone. No, a great pleasure. I'm glad we were able to make this happen.
Fantastic. Well, until next time, Jamie, cheerio.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Well, what a legend.
What a legend. What a legend. In France, no less, as well.
So let's discuss the owl service, Benji.
Oh, well, the owl service. What a thing to discuss. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. With all my being. It's just... just overcomplicated. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I was sitting there thinking, am I stupid? And I just don't really understand. Is this on a higher level than me? But it seems like sort of avant-garde, over the top rubbish, really, in my opinion. But that's just me. I don't want to be too harsh, but it just really did absolutely nothing for me. Really.
Well, how do they describe it? Alison and her stepbrother Roger go for the summer family holiday to a remote cottage in the Welsh Valleys. After hearing a scratching noise coming from the attic, Alison discovers some old dinner plates which have a strange floral pattern on them, and when she traces the pattern on paper, discovers that the flowers turn into owls. But what is the connection between the plates, the gardener, the angry housekeeper, and the mysterious local legend? Gradually, the weird power of the valley takes over, and the legend begins to unfold. That's what it says it's about. I would say that it's quite difficult to discern that from the first episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I have a revelation here because, I was really against it last week's podcast, and I was dreading doing it. And when you first mentioned it to me 2 podcasts ago, I went, "Oh God, don't make me watch that." I literally said those words, I think. And I've always hated it. And I know it's been a favourite of some people, and I've always thought, why? Why do you like this rubbish? And because when I watched it, as I said last week, I remember being totally confused by it. And my parents hated it as well and couldn't understand it. It was in the sort of Catweasel type slot, I suppose it was out before Catweasel, but I seem to remember it came after. It was in a slot where there were always child-friendly programs, and this is very much, I think, a series made for teenagers.
Definitely,
and I was far, far too young to be watching it. Far too young. I think my brother was sort of paying attention to it, but it was generally... It's got quite... There's a girl in a very short shirt stroke dress. So there's a sort of, they play with sexuality in it a bit, don't they?
Oh, they do, definitely.
But I will say this revelatory thing, that I actually, having had a history, and I tried to watch it again not that long ago, a few years ago, I was actually quite drawn to it. And I found myself, I did start episode 2. I didn't have time to watch much more. And I will watch it all. I was quite drawn to it. I thought that the acting, I remember the acting just being useless, but I think it's actually quite good. And it's all on film. I mean, it's odd, and it is, I think it's deliberately trying to be weird and amorphous. And but yeah, Alan Garner, look up Alan Garner, because he wrote a thing called The Weird Stone of it's either pronounced Brisingamen or Brisingamen. I can't remember which it is. And that was read to me when I was at school in the 70s. So it was written between, and I loved it. I found it really, it's all very, how would you describe it? It's a children's fantasy novel. Got folklore, and he wrote a sequel to it called The Moon of Gomrath. I don't know whether I ever encountered that one. I don't know. Only wrote The Owl Service in 1967, or wrote it as a book and it was adapted. So he's certainly got something, that old Alan Garner.
I think the book could be brilliant because the concept is excellent, and I do think they execute it in a creepy way. That there is something incredibly creepy about it.
He's still going as well, Alan Garner. He was born in 1934. He's aged 83.
Good on him. He's
younger than my mum. Yeah.
I mean, I've got mixed views on the acting in this one, because there's a real... obviously, you've got Edwin Richfield, isn't it? Doctor Who legend, who I love, and I think he's great. And I got a
Colonel Hart.
Got Colonel Hart.
Not Colonel, Captain Hart. Sorry, not Colonel.
I've got a lot of time for him. Raymond Llewellyn as well, I think, is a Doctor Who. Was he in Doctor Who?
I've no idea.
The name rings a bell.
One question I do have about the characters is that Edwin Richfield's character has recently remarried, hasn't he? And so what we've got here is his son and then his stepdaughter, who's the daughter of his new wife. Now, his new wife, Margaret, who gets mentioned a lot, and I thought I was going mad, she doesn't seem to appear. She doesn't appear in episode 1. And she doesn't... Is Margaret going to appear? It seems odd. I don't know why she's not there on holiday. It's also not... It's a very difficult drama. It doesn't follow easy rules of relating plot information, does it? The fact that they're there on holiday, no one actually says that. I kind of quite respect it for not having those obviously expositional lines. It's more about people's feelings and emotions, and weird and abstract as they are.
But it's like the strange dynamic as well, like you mentioned about, recently remarrying, and it's quite a weird one because they're very, they're all very young as well. It almost feels like they're too, they could be teenagers, they could be perhaps they are very, but it took a while for me to kind of get into that mindset about it, if that makes sense.
Yes, I don't know how young they're meant to be. I mean, they look like they're about 19, but maybe they're meant to be about 14 or something like that. I can't tell.
It's a
very uncomfortable close-up of the top, let me phrase it thus, the top of the girl's legs in a very short skirt when she's sort of writhing around in her sleep.
Yeah, and there's another bit when she's on the floor as well. If they're meant to be
children, why are you... Oh, that's a bit funny. I don't know how old they're meant to be. Let's say they're 17 for safety's sake, eh? Yes, it's very... It doesn't... I mean, it's not clear when she's with the boy there. What's her character's name? She's Alison. And... what's the name of the boy? The boy... There are two boys. One of them is Edwin Richfield's son, as it were. And the other one's the son of the strange housekeeper who's played with all the subtlety of a smack round the face with a saucepan. She just keeps coming up the stairs and giving sort of, I'm weird, sort of Welsh looks.
So silly.
I feel that her acting style has been her and the weird gardener. Their acting style has been gleaned from an entirely different form of drama.
I mean, the
different
lead
genre.
The lead girl, I think the woman's name is Gillian Hills, according to Wikipedia. Yeah, I mean, she didn't have a long career, bless her, but this didn't do a lot for me, unfortunately. She felt like she was.
I quite liked her performance.
I felt like it was all very felt very theatre for me, watching it. Like she kind of my belief was kind of stopped. I didn't believe as hard because she kept kind of breaking it for me, and I don't know.
Right.
And it could.
I remember I found her very irritating when I was a kid, but I've had a revelatory moment, as I say. I've kind of warmed to it, and I will. Maybe, but it's not easy. It's a curiosity piece, isn't it?
Oh, I would say yeah. It's a very uncomfortable watch, and I mean for me, it's the type of thing I loathe. Watching. I mean, I love things that are uncomfortable, but I don't like things that try too hard, and it feels like it tries a little bit too hard at times to be weird and odd. But I do find it is incredibly creepy, and it does put because you don't quite you don't fully understand, and obviously that is fear, isn't it? It's things you don't understand, and you think, it puts you on the edge of your seat. One of the things though, it does make me laugh. And every time as well, as that theme music just cracks me up. I just love the idea of like the people that behind the scenes. They're going, right, so we get this nice sort of traditional sort of Welshy, lovely sort of harpy sort of sound, and then slap bang, cut it to a chainsaw. Like that.
It's yes. I mean, it's again, they're deliberately. I mean, for sure that they haven't done all this by accident. They've crafted it thus. So it is very... I quite like it because it's bold and uncompromising.
Oh, definitely. I think it certainly is that.
But yes, it makes it difficult and unfriendly to watch.
I mean, I sort of, despite really not enjoying it, I sort of want to finish it because I want...
I mean, I can guarantee, I don't know, but I can predict that the ending will be insufficiently conclusive.
Oh, I'm sure.
Unless the house explodes and they all die horribly.
But that would be amusing, wouldn't it? I mean, it'd be horrible.
They get attacked by flying plates.
I was going to say, well, interestingly enough, on the Wikipedia, it states the cast have commented on it years later.
Oh, yes.
It says here, many of the cast later commented on the lasting effects the serial had on them, with Holden, which is Michael Holden, commenting that it felt like we were personally living the whole thing, whilst Hills said that it was so real and it was really frightening. Llewellyn said in 2008 that the role of Hugh has haunted him ever since.
Wow.
So that's quite...
I actually feel a bit...
But actually, you can see that because it is a bit like... It is uncomfortable. And all the characters are weird as well. They're all odd.
Yes, I think, without sounding... Well, I am going to sound completely pretentious. I think it's an important series. I think it's important in the history of television because I don't think there's anything else like it, really, from what I can glean here. And I'm kind of relieved because I always was completely repulsed by it. Never in the right frame of mind to see it. But, yeah, I mean, and I put it into the DVD machine with a heavy heart. I thought, I've got to prepare for tomorrow's directing, and I better just watch this for the podcast. It was a real chore. But, the reason I did it is because I was so unfair to it, going, oh, God, I don't want to see that. I thought, no, we've got to challenge ourselves if this podcast is going to mean anything, Benji. I mean, it's got to mean something. Oh, my God. Maybe it hasn't. So I'm kind of relieved that I got a different perspective on it. I give it a tentative 3 exclamation marks. You must give it 1, though, if you're honest.
I'll give it a 2. But only...
You're so generous.
Well, no, because...
You said, I hate it.
I do hate it, but after talking about it, I give it a 2 because I kind of... It's got me enough that I want to watch more of it, if that makes sense now.
Yes.
Because now we're sort of retrospectively talking about it, I feel quite intrigued. I mean, I hate it, and it's the type of thing I won't enjoy finishing. It is, but
you'll put yourself through it.
But I want to know. I want to know where it goes. Before we conclude it, though, there is actually another really interesting fact here as well. That the stone, that stone in it where he pokes his head through.
Yes.
So that stone apparently was made especially for this production. It was carved by a local stonemaker, and it's meant to be rough and weather worn, and basically be like an ancient monument. And they left the stone there after the stone was specially made for this, and it's still there now. They left it there. Where is it? It's the River Dovey, below Bryn Hall, and. Yeah, and it's still there, and
people visit.
People visit, and people mistake it for a real ancient monument. But the stone is still there, and it's purely from that program. That is cool. I like stuff like that.
Wow, maybe we should go and visit it and do a podcast there, looking through the hole. Yeah, you be one side, and I'll be the other side, but we'll still do it via Skype.
Yeah. So, hold on, Nick. No, the connection's gone again.
Yeah, but I can hear you anyway. What?
No,
don't spoil it.
Sorry, no. I'll have to restart. They did an audio version in 2000 as well, BBC Radio 4. Cool, this is like the gift that keeps on giving. There's loads of little tidbits here.
It must have been a different adaptation. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, well, there we go. I mean, it's certainly intriguing.
Yeah, I noticed there's a 1980 archive interview with Alan Garner on the DVD box set.
So, you have to have a listen to that one then.
And there's a making of article and a written interview with Gillian Hills and Ray Llewellyn. It's also all shot on film. Looks like 16mm to me, by the by. It's quite grainy.
It does look quite grainy, but it adds to the feel. Well, I think it's been an interesting journey for us, Nick, don't you?
Yeah.
Is it avant-garde rubbish? Who knows? Is it something on a higher plane of existence that mere mortals like I cannot understand?
I feel the need to, in some way, reenact the theme tune. Recreate.
There you go. Beautiful. That was the on our new album of TV theme tunes by the Benji and Nick Show, to rival Matt Berry's TV themes out.
Fantastic.
Oh, marvellous.
Well, there we have it. There we are. The owl, the challenging and interesting owl service. Listen, I just want to give the competition result.
Oh, exciting, yes.
The competition was to win the Nightmare Man DVD, kindly donated by the ever wonderful Benji Clifford. The question was, which actor featured in both The Nightmare Man and the Doctor Who story Earthshock? Subject line, Celia! 3 exclamation marks. The closing date was Friday the 12th of October, which has passed into history. The winner is, well, he wrote to us and he said the answer to the Nightmare Man competition on the Benji and Nick show is James Warwick. He played Michael Gaffikin in The Nightmare Man and Lieutenant Scott in Doctor Who.
Scott to TARDIS. Scott to TARDIS. Scott to TARDIS. That's it.
Doctor Who Earthshock, that was. Best wishes, John Pettigrew. John Pettigrew. John Pettigrew. John Pettigrew. That's John Pettigrew tonight on BBC One. And he's from Kirkcaldy in Fife. So Benji's going to sort that out.
Get that on the way to you. Yep, that'll be off through the ether to you, and you can enjoy it at your leisure. Yeah, wherever the ether is.
No competition set. We haven't got anything. Well, I'll think of something for next time. All right.
A toothbrush or something. Something entertaining like that.
I've had a thought for next week's topic.
Oh, okay.
The flip side of Dominic Hyde.
The flip side of Dominic. Let me have a look at this. I can't say I've ever heard of it.
I have mentioned it to you before.
The flip side.
Walking away across the room to my DVD collection here.
It's got a great guy with a great haircut, though.
It's Peter Firth.
Peter Firth with the finest hair this side of Foggy Bottom. That was a play for today.
What?
I'll always go for a play for today.
Sci-fi, mate. Sci-fi. I have mentioned it to you before. You've completely forgotten. There it is.
I always forget things, though. Oh, that looks good, though. That looks right up my Strasser.
Oh, you'll love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We've also worked with the lady who's in it a number of times. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Caroline Langrish.
That's right. We've worked with her. She's great. Peter Firth has played the boss in Spooks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that does
completely unrecognisable because in Spooks he's a big heavy guy and he's a young sort of fey chap. I think Peter Firth was also in The Double Deckers, which was a kids' TV series.
The Double Deckers. Saying what else he's been in? He's done loads. Pearl Harbor. World Without
Good
End.
actor.
Good series. That one. Okay, he's done an awful lot, hasn't he?
I don't think he's related to Colin Firth.
No, probably not. Who knows?
No, I'm pretty certain he isn't. No.
Is the resounding answer to that one. He was awarded an honorary degree at the University of Bradford as a Doctor of Letters.
Which letters?
A, Z, and an ellipsis, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought he got K as well.
No, they were going to offer him K, but they gave that to somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, flip side of Dominic Hyde.
I'm well up for that one. Count me in.
Get in. I guarantee that once you watch the flip side of Dominic Hyde, you will go straight into another flip for Dominic. You won't be able to resist. It's beautiful.
I'm up for it. I'm up for it.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's really, really lovely and funny and yeah.
It looks. I'm just flicking through, clicking a few buttons just to see snippets of what it looks like, and it looks absolutely spot on.
I mean, it's very BBC studio bound. A lot of location stuff in there, but yeah, it's of that time. But
I'm excited now. Great.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay, well, I think it's time to.
Yes, I nicely nestled up towards the microphone now. Well, it's been a journey, Nick. We've travelled through Wales. We've touched on plates and fax machines, and well, now.
It'd be a weird thing if I just kept doing this in public and you just had to keep making that noise. I mean, it's weird enough me doing this, but you doing that is even worse.
Just both gently rocking.
Well, anyway, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Pressing stop now. Ka-chung.